I was so excited I got to experience Epic Universe and the Helios Grand Hotel, and I wanted to document the park and the hotel as they were at opening. From technical rehearsals to what those first few weeks were actually like. So I'll be introducing a series about each portal and the hotel, with an overview of the world, the attractions, the food and merchandise, the lore, and my review and thoughts on what the future of this park will look like. Part 1. Overview. Nintendo and Universal have teamed up to give us an elaborately themed world where it really feels like stepping into a video game. This is the third version of this area, after existing in Universal Studios Hollywood and Japan for the last few years. Travelers enter the portal, up the escalator, and come out through a green pipe into Princess Peach's castle. Outside the castle walls is the vibrant, animated, and exciting portal of Super Nintendo World. Based on the characters and locations from the Super Mario franchise, this interactive land includes not only the Mushroom Kingdom, but also Donkey Kong Country, an additional mini-portal. Part 2. Attractions. Mario Kart: Bowser's Challenge. Travelers enter through Bowser's castle and get ready to team up with Mario and his friends in a race against Bowser and the Koopalings in an augmented reality dark ride that's a coin-collecting race to the finish. Riders are given a Mario hat in the queue, and once they are seated in the race cart, they attach a visor to the hat. And then the race begins! Riders must collect at least 100 coins from hitting enemies with shells in order to beat Team Bowser. I think the idea to base an attraction off Mario Kart is very smart. The Mario Kart games are pretty simple racing games, so you don't have to have any prior knowledge about the franchise, or even have picked up a Nintendo controller to enjoy a ride about racing. The games have existed since the early 90s, and the most recent version came out this year on Nintendo's latest platform, so it has proven longevity and is still relevant, always a plus. And I don't think this is a bad attraction, but I do think it is flawed. What you see in your visor is often very busy, and the first time I rode it, it did kind of come across as overwhelming. The visor really makes it hard to notice things in the room with you because you're too busy trying to focus on all the constantly moving things in the visor. If you bring grandma and grandpa coming along on the trip and they've never played any Mario game, I can see not really being able to distinguish between the good characters and the bad characters. So in that way, I can see this being a confusing, maybe even lesser experience than if you just rode as a regular dark ride with no visor. That being said, the target audience isn't someone who's never played Mario Kart. I imagine this ride wants to appeal to people who have played the game, and to that I say, it does. Ish. Obviously, a slow-moving dark ride is not immediately what comes to mind when you think of riding an attraction based on a racing game. You think speed, you think competition. I think the visor is the way to compromise those two ideas. The visor allows for images to appear to be moving faster than they are, and it builds in a game, which satisfies the competition aspect. This would be much harder to do on something like a roller coaster, and I think the locations and references are going to satisfy fans of the games. And because the characters all exist digitally, they could potentially be changed to align with character model updates to the video game as the years go on, a much more cost-effective way to keep your ride from feeling dated without a complete overhaul. Yoshi's Adventure. Travelers enter a yellow pipe into the forest where Toadette lives. She lets us know we're on the hunt for 3 Yoshi eggs. When riders spot the different colored eggs, they hit the corresponding button in the vehicle and at the end collect the golden Yoshi egg. So, I was a little disappointed with Yoshi's Adventure, but I think that comes down to expectations versus reality. When I walked into the world and saw it was multi-stories, and that Yoshis going by were slow-moving, I imagined it more like the People Mover in Magic Kingdom or the high-in-the-sky Seuss Train Trolley, which have enclosed scenes, but quite a bit of the ride is just getting a different perspective of the themed land. And since this portal was so well themed and busy, I was really excited for that kind of experience, but that's not what this is. The game component is cute and very simple, little kids would enjoy it. I assume. We did go with our niece, but she was too small to ride, which I completely understand, obviously safety first, but the fact that this is the only thing close to a dark ride that a really little kid would enjoy, I was surprised. Because it is so slow moving, I also assumed it would be safe for pregnant people, and thus my sister-in-law, an expectant mother, would be able to ride. And that was also a no, at least according to the website. It's not included in safe rides for expectant mothers. Which again, safety first, totally understand that there is a reason. But this is a ride that would most appeal to very young children, so I do kind of feel like the ride design should have been built to accommodate small children and people who are just starting families, since that's who will enjoy this ride the most. But it's cute. Minecart Madness. Follow Donkey Kong's footprints through a temple in search for the golden banana. I'll get the negative out of the way. This ride is kinda rough. Like I said in the last video, I'm not a roller coaster person, so I don't have a lot to compare it to, but this was the roughest in the park for sure. If I had to guess, it's because of the ride's design, but it is a really cool design. The track is sideways, but the car remains upright, and so it looks like the cart is leaping through the air and landing back on the track. Unlike the other two rides in this land, there is no game component, which makes sense because a roller coaster doesn't really lend itself to that kind of mechanic. There are a number of animatronics and figures in the ride, all references to the Donkey Kong Country games. I just love seeing animatronics, and these all worked when I rode, so I was happy. There's also a ride photo. Part 3: Food and Merchandise. There are 4 food locations in Super Nintendo World. In the Donkey Kong Country Mini-Land, there's the Bubbly Barrel that serves DK Crush Float, a banana pineapple soft serve with banana-flavored soda. My husband thought this was delicious. Outside Mario Kart, there's Turbo Treats, which only serves popcorn and soda. There's Yoshi's Snack Island, which serves red shell calzones, a meat option, and green shell calzones, a vegetarian option. They also had these delicious apple melon smoothies that my friend Addison got a couple of. They were so good. The main dining establishment is Toadstool Cafe. This is a quick service restaurant where, like with Das Steakhouse, you sit at a table and order from the mobile order, rather than wait in a line at a register to order. What I did not share though is that your order is not customizable. Well, like, if you have an allergy, they will have a chef come out and talk to you, but if you have a palate of a little kid, you won't be able to ask for changes. Which is surprising to me because nearly all the menu items contain mushrooms, something picky eaters aren't usually a fan of. We ate here twice, once with my in-laws for dinner and once with a friend for dessert. I got the super mushroom soup and toadstool cheesy garlic knots. The soup was fine, and I liked the little crackers, but the garlic knots were pretty dry. Mike got the super mushroom pizza bowl, and he does not recommend that. The rest of the family got the Mario Burgers and Mario Mini Burger Adventure Set from the kids' meal, and they enjoyed those, so the burger is probably your safest way to go for a meal. But if you're looking for a fun dessert, I definitely recommend the Princess Peach's cake. This is definitely something you share, but it was a very good cake with this yummy fruit filling. I definitely recommend this one, as it's a fun treat for your group. There are 3 places to shop within Super Nintendo World. Outside Minecart Madness, there's Funky's Fly and Buy, which sells Donkey Kong merch. At the exit of Mario Kart, there's Mario Motors, which sells a lot of character merch and stuff related to the ride. There's also the 1-Up Factory, which has a lot of the same merch, just more of it. There's plenty of shirts and plush to choose from. They also have these lovely bands available for purchase. For $45 a person, you can pick a team to join and get your band and collect points throughout the day. Even though these bands do not hold your ticket data like the Disney Magic Band, you set up a profile in the Universal app, the same app you use to order your meals, and once that's done, you can start playing. All those wonderful animatronics become interactive, and you can go throughout the portal, punching blocks to collect coins, tapping touch points to reveal hidden images, and beating mini-games. So, I guess it's time to talk about those. Part 4: The Lore. When entering Princess Peach's castle, portraits on the wall let us know that Bowser Jr. has stolen the golden mushroom. Travelers will have the option to help find the golden mushroom. In order to find the golden mushroom, you will have to collect 3 keys, and there are 5 games to collect keys, so people have options, which definitely helps with wait times. I like this because since you're already paying for an additional experience, you don't want to have to wait in a long line. Once you've collected your 3 keys, you can go to Bowser Jr.'s Shadow Showdown. This is a game where you stand in front of a screen and your shadow battles Bowser Jr. and other enemies in order to win the Golden Mushroom. Overall, I think this is a pretty good addition to this area of the park. I'm assuming that profits from the sales of the bands will be put towards the cost of maintaining the animatronics throughout the portal, because so many of the activities where you use the band feature them. That being said, the band was not required to play the games or punch the blocks. We saw lots of kids having an absolute blast with these activities without their parents buying the band. The only thing you could not do without the band was Bowser Jr.'s Shadow Showdown, which requires you to tap your band and verify you had the 3 keys in order to play. If you don't have the band, you can't collect the coins or the keys. They're just fun games at that point. That being said, the Golden Mushroom is located outside the attraction and kind of hidden away, so I imagine a team member would be able to be like, I think you can help Princess Peach find the Golden Mushroom by looking over there, or something, if a kid was really upset about not being able to go inside because they didn't have a band. Well, I hear you say, if you can still play everything and still get a picture with the Golden Mushroom without paying the $45, why do it? Well, the bands can also be used at home on Nintendo products as an amiibo. Amiibos are these little figures you buy and they interact with multiple games. Each power-up band can be used as an amiibo for its corresponding character. So, for instance, I have the Princess Peach band, so it would be like tapping a Princess Peach figure. But for while you're in the park, the appeal would be that some tap points do reveal things or affect the environment around you. There's also a competition aspect. By joining a team, every activity you do adds points, so it's like you get to help your favorite character win. You also collect stickers for activities that are stored in the mobile app. And this aspect, I imagine, will appeal to locals or theme park completionists. You get a sticker for coming at certain times of the year, for example, and once that time has passed, you can't get that sticker anymore. Having said that, the band system is not flawless. For example, Addison did this block punch and got all stars, which is a sticker. However, it wasn't in his app. When we looked at the footage, we saw he wasn't using his hand with the band. He was holding a coffee in that hand. So, silly mistake, lesson learned there, not a big deal. But later in the day, we were playing Rambi's Bongo Breakout in Donkey Kong Country. It's a rhythm game where a rhino pops out of a crate when you successfully coax him out. Mike and Addison weren't able to do it, and then I tried and won, so I was super excited, and yet my app doesn't register that I even played the game, let alone that I brought Rambi out of his crate with my jungle beats. I don't know how that could have happened since you use both hands for the activity, so it should have registered, but it is what it is. For what it's worth, I'm sure if I had noticed this in the park and went up to a team member working these things, I could have had them maybe add the stickers or something, but I was waiting to review them all after my final visit so I could just screen record them all at once, so that's on me. In addition to games and tap points throughout the portal, there are also these adorable little Pikmin throughout the land. They are plant-like creatures from the game Pikmin for the GameCube. In the game, you use them to collect stuff or avoid obstacles, and it's just a cute little detail to notice. There are multiple characters that meet throughout the land. There's Mario and Luigi, and Princess Peach. I didn't meet with either of them, but could see that they were able to talk. There's this person with an iPad next to the character activating the motions and the voice. Very little kids will probably not notice, but I was kind of surprised this role was not more hidden to kind of keep the magic for everyone. They also had Toad, allegedly. I have not seen him. And Donkey Kong, who I also did not ever see in his meet and greet space, but he was in the portal entrance video. Part 5, The Future. First, if you liked this video and want to see the rest of my series, like and subscribe, leave a comment, etc. And second, this land smartly does not rely on the Super Mario Bros. Movie from Illumination. While that movie was super successful, it really hasn't had time to prove it has any staying power. And hearing the voices of Jack Black and Chris Pratt might quickly date the experience. I realize that I've been more critical in this video, but I do love the portal. Stepping out of the castle and looking out at the land is just a really well done visual. And while I have seen a lot of complaints about the amount of stairs, I have to say for people with mobility issues or families with strollers, they still do a good job. For instance, the portal entrance is an escalator. Since we traveled once with my niece in her stroller, We couldn't use the escalator, and we went through a side entrance. We still had the green pipe portal effect entering Princess Peach's castle, and simply had to take an elevator up to the second floor where we were dropped off to the same incredible first view of the world. I love all the animatronics throughout the land. This place feels like the kind of place I would have loved to run around in during elementary or middle school. It has a great cartoonish quality to everything. I enjoy all 3 rides, despite some critiques, and I think the Nintendo brand is considerably broader than a couple other areas in the park, so it has a pretty bright future. A future I think they are already starting to work on. As we started on Minecart Madness, and from our hotel room we could see the construction starting on land next to the Donkey Kong Country. While there has been no official announcement, the rumors are a Luigi's Mansion mini land and attraction, Pokemon, or a Legend of Zelda themed portal. My educated guess is that this would be a Legend of Zelda land. Outside of Super Nintendo World, in the central hub, there's a store with only Nintendo merch. This is the only store like this, and there are multiple references to Zelda games. They already have a Haunted Mansion type experience in Dark Universe, so creating Luigi's Mansion next door doesn't really make sense. It would just be a similar type attraction. And I don't know, I just feel like they want to save Pokemon for one of the other parks, maybe like as a replacement for Lost Continent over at Islands of Adventure. I suspect the connecting points to this land will probably be at the Coca-Cola Freestyle machine cutout and maybe in the back towards Donkey Kong Country. I've never played Zelda, so I don't have any strong feelings about it as a franchise, but I love what they did with Mushroom Kingdom and Donkey Kong Country, so I'm excited to see what they have in store for us.